Hold up, before we get to this video, can you guys please subscribe, like, and comment? I'm so excited for this journey, and I want you guys to see this journey with me. So go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate it. Come on, let's get into the video. What's up, YouTube? It's Fitz, and I'm ready to talk. Look, I am back with the Real Housewives of Atlanta recap, season 15, episode number 3. A Star is Reborn. I love the name. That's cute. So anyway, we start off at Chateau by Sheree. Of course, Sheree has a chef there. I think it's the same chef that was there for Martell, cooking breakfast or brunch for the ladies. It ends up being Marlo and Sonya. They all meet and they kind of sit back and talk about BravoCon and how the fans are going crazy. It was a little peculiar to me that Sonya said that the fans were going crazy for y'all, and I'm like, girl, you are a part of the show. What do you mean, y'all? The fans weren't going crazy for you? But I guess that's because she's still a newbie, so maybe the fans just haven't really taken to her, which I can kind of see. She's still new, right? Her whole storyline has been her family, so it's nothing really that's too exciting yet happening with her. So that's probably why. So then, of course, they move on and start talking about who else? Candy. They're going to talk about Mama Joyce at BravoCon, how she pretty much disrespected Todd. I mean, at the end of the day, that's how I feel about it. I feel like it's disrespect. She needs to get on board with this. I mean, Kenny and Todd are making moves. They're married. They've been married for some time. They have 2 kids together, and they have a blended family. So it's like, come on, you gotta move forward. The question was posed to Mama Joyce: if you could choose someone to marry your daughter, who would you choose? And then she says, starting off, or some real sly like starting off, he would need a job. And it's like, Todd has a job. Matter of fact, that's how Kenny met him, was with the job. So it's just very much so disheartening. I can only imagine if that was my mom, I would be like, what the fuck? I probably would have just cut her off. I'm sorry, because you're not going to cause confusion at my home and think that that's going to be okay to do so. So they go ahead and talk about that and kind of just laugh it up about that. Sonya does bring up Drew. I guess it was some shade thrown on stage that Drew said some sly remarks to Sonya's like, I thought we were cool. Why is Drew being this actress on stage? I mean, it is what it is. I mean, at the reunion, did they get cool? I don't recall them being completely cool. I mean, I'm sure they were just kind of cordial. I mean, whatever, girl. Like, y'all are at odds, so it just is what it is. Y'all seem like y'all always gonna be at odds. Y'all just don't get along. Some people just don't get along. So just go ahead and move forward. Accept that, and just on this show, you just gonna have to always stay ready for Drew. So she goes ahead and said that, and then we gonna move forward to Drew. Speaking of Drew, to Drew's home. So we go into Drew's, well, not her home. We actually go to her and Ralph. They're at a rock climbing wall place. I've done it. It is no joke. It actually is hard work. It's fun, but it's no joke. You gotta use all your muscles trying to get up that damn thing. And then I had no issue with doing that part. My issue was actually being the supporter, the one down at the bottom holding the rope while the person goes up. That was the part that I was just like, okay, this is a lot. You kind of gotta use your weight to make sure they stay steady, and it's a lot. But anyway, Drew does that. She has some issues doing it. She could not get down how to get down from the damn wall. She's dropped. You're supposed to put your feet out and kick against the wall. She's twirling and stuff down the damn thing. I'm like, you hurt yourself. You're gonna hit your head or something. So they go ahead and do that. Looks like they were having some fun. They were talking about marriage counseling and how they kind of have turned over a new leaf. Her and Ralph, and this is Danish trying to keep it going in a positive direction. So of course, Ralph and Drew sit down and they talk about the song. They talk about, you already know, supposedly it has 33,000 listens now. So that's pretty good. Ralph said he's not really impressed by that. Drew shares that she feels like Ralph just kind of did the song and then abandoned it. Like, just, the song was completed and he felt like that was all the work that needed to happen. There was really no rollout. There was really no promotion. And so she, she feels type of way about that. Ralph pretty much says, hey, I gotta get back to my business, my life, my career. He's like, pretty much like, it's time for me. I helped you with this song. The song has happened. Let's go and move on. So they kind of have that little static between each other, but Drew is hopeful that they will be able to continue to make music since their relationship is founded on music. And so that's that. So then we jump on we pick up at Kenya's house. Kenya is on the phone with one of her graphic designers, or whatever. She says that she feels more like she's a mentor than a boss. She's sitting here telling him he needs to fix the dimensions on the picture. He's like, I did it already, but okay, I'll do it again. And she's just kind of like, okay, she does enjoy employing younger people, but that's what makes her feels like a mentor. And why it's so hard for them to do what she asked for them to do. And I'm like, okay, are they interns, Kenya? Are they paid interns? I mean, at the end of the day, you need to do what you're supposed to do at work. If you're going to be an intern, whether paid or not, you need to do what the boss says do. But this is probably why you're probably getting college students, so they're learning the ropes and learning etiquette at work. So he may not have all that yet. So I thought that was kind of funny. So then I know where she hangs up with him, and then she's talking to Mayetta. Mayetta is on her way to Toya's Wright's wedding, which was beautiful. If y'all have never seen the wedding, her pictures, my God, so pretty. Her pictures were just gorgeous. I mean, geez, her dress, she looked amazing. She looked great. But that's what Mañeta's on her way to. I guess she's gonna be doing a dance, like her offering a dance for the bridesmaids. And Kenya asked for her to do the same for her for a football game that I guess Kenya Moore Hair Care will be a part of. So, she's just like, okay, yeah, of course. She's excited. She's down to do it. I guess it's something that Mañeta does. It's nice to hear something else that Mañeta does. I really don't know much about what she does. We just all know that she's a friend of Candy that is now kind of like a reoccurring part of the crew, right? So it's like, it's nice to hear that she has something else going on, outside of what we already know her for, which is, I believe, Neo's ex, and then also to see her, she's a dancer. That's great. That's amazing. So, Kenya says, can you do it? And she says, yeah, she's going to do it. So that's going to be looking good. I can't wait to see it. I'm sure it will be on the show. Moving on, let's go to Candy. So we end up at Candy's, I believe it's the candy factory that we're at. Her and Don Juan are talking, and they start discussing, Candy's to-do lists, what Candy needs to do. And I'm just like, her list is so long. Good Jesus. So I understand why Todd's movie is kind of on the back burner. But she says it's part of that list. She's going to make it happen. They're going to make it, they're going to do this movie soon enough. Don Juan does bring up and says, and let me just say this, people have issues with Don Juan, but I can understand how he can be a little annoying. Sometimes he does get a little boisterous, but I do love how he has Candy's back. You know what I'm saying? And that goes, he has her back even with her own husband. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, I don't give a fuck. You need to make sure that you're a part of this just as much as you require for Todd to be a part of it. You need to be a part of it. So because your name is going on this as well. And I love that. I love you need a friend like that, especially in business. That's amazing. Somebody that actually has your best interest at heart in any space. He's able to speak his mind. And I love that. I do think that that's cool. The only thing is that, okay, sometimes with the ladies beef, just stay out of it. But I understand that's his friend and his boss. So I understand how that those lines can be blurred at times. And he takes off his hat as the employee and kind of steps into the friend role. So I completely understand that. I mean, Kenny don't have a problem with it. I ain't got a problem with it, so it is what it is. So then, of course, they go. Mañeta actually shows up at the candy factory, and they sit down, and they start chit-chatting about BravoCon. That's when the shoe falls about Mama Joyce being disrespectful, saying what she said about Todd, saying that Todd, pretty much isn't good enough for her daughter. And, Candy kind of says the reason why she has an issue with that now, because Mama Joyce is just being out of pocket. Like, Mama Joyce is just saying what the fuck she want to say, no matter what Candy is saying. Candy can say, don't say this, and she's still saying it, and she's her mom. She has her own voice. So at the end of the day, Candy can't control what she says. But like I said, if I was Candy, she'd be cut the fuck off for a little while. I know she loves her mama, but you have to watch the way, because you don't want Todd disrespecting her. So you have to watch the line of that. Like, he can only take so much, pretty much. So Todd finds out because Kayla calls him and shows him the video of Mama Joyce and what she said. And that's why he's pretty much upset. That's why he was, mad, because like, okay, my daughter has seen this. Our daughter, that's part of a blended family. She's concerned. She's sending this to her dad, like, hey, this is what Kenny's mom is saying about you. So yes, that would have upset me too. And Kenny goes on and says that the reason why she would have, I'm sure it's more than just this being a problem, but the reason why it is such a big problem, because they do have kids together. They have two babies that have to grow up one day and see all this stuff over the internet. And how would Mama Joyce feel if, she has to answer to Blaze, or Ace about what's going on. Like, how would you feel about that? Like, you're saying reckless stuff for clicks and views, which it seems like to me. I'm sorry, I don't know her mom, but it just seems like it's a little bit much, because in real life I don't think somebody would be that blatantly disrespectful, like to somebody that's making their daughter happy, unless because of course we don't know what happens behind closed doors. So maybe Kenny truly is not, and Todd truly is not as happy as they portray to be on television, but they seem like they're happy. I mean, shit, we just saw pictures from her birthday party and she was all hugged up, they all laid out, they look like they're just happy. So it's like, come on, you should be happy for your daughter. So that happens, and they just kind of just talk about that, and Kenny just says her disappointment in Mama Joyce. So moving on. Okay, so we bounce back to Drew's house. So of course Drew talks, Drew, that she's talking to Ralph, and they're just kind of chit-chatting. Then her phone rings, and it's Candace. Candace is like, hey, I'm on tour, as you know. Apparently her and Candace from Real Housewives of Potomac, apparently they're friends, and she wants Drew to come and sing with her for her tour date in Georgia. So of course Drew jumps to Drew's like, yeah, of course, I've been wanting to get back in the singing thing, it's perfect timing. So she agrees to do it, and she's all excited about it, and they go ahead and set it in stone. So of course there's a knock at the door, and it is Courtney and her BD. Sorry, y'all, I didn't get his name. I think his name's Quentin. No, that ain't his name. That's Marlo's nephew, RP. But anyway, her BD's there. So they come in, they hi, shake hands, all excited. Courtney and Ralph are cousins now. Then Drew does recognize her BD from a movie. I guess they had a movie back in the day together. So they're all just a one chummy, happy friend group. So they sit back and laugh and talk. They just go and, laugh and whatever, keep on going with the conversation. So then Drew jumps out of nowhere and says, "Oh, I want to, she does tell Courtney about the date with Candace, and Courtney's like, oh great." So then Drew says, "Oh, I'm gonna call Candy and invite Candy." No one get well, they don't get along. Like Ralph has already told you last episode, or episode before last, that they got into it, so you already know that. So of course she calls Candy, and Candy's like, "Hey Drew," and Candy's like, Drew's like, "Hey, I want you to come to this performance, I'm having with Candace." And then she shows Courtney. She's like, "Oh, we have family time," and she shows Courtney, and Candy's like, "Okay, why are you showing me her?" Pretty much like she's like, "We don't get along. What are you showing me her for?" And so then Candy's like, "Just yes, I'll be there." All right, click. So that's pretty much end of that scene. They go ahead and move on to the next. So we're going to go ahead and actually hop back into Drew's. So the next scene is at Drew's still. We're still there. I forgot about this part. They're sitting there talking about IG and how Sonya unfollowed Drew, and Drew feels like that is the problem between them. So pretty much Drew and Sonya know there's some tension between both of them. They just both have some kind of different take on it. One feels like the other ones are at fault, and the other one feels like the other one's at fault, which usually happens in disagreements. Like they both are just kind of confused where they dropped the ball at. So that's kind of what's going on. So then we go ahead and move on to the next scene. They go ahead and cheers, and then let's go on to the next. The next scene, they go ahead and go back to Sheree's home, and Chateau Sheree, and they're showing the ladies kind of talk about Martell. Of course, Martell gets brought up again in the conversation, and she's just saying that she understood why Martell felt kind of blindsided by Kenya at the last event, and how he's such a good man. What he portrays on TV is not really how he is in person. And I'm just kind of thinking in my head, girl, do you want a man like that? Like, do you want somebody that's putting on for TV and not really like that in person? I can imagine I want that, but okay, to each his own. So she kind of just talks about that. She's kind of like, everybody needs to just give them a break. You know what I'm saying? Like, just let whatever happened between him and, Kenya, let it be. It's no longer happening. That's her man, and she's willing to stick by his side. That's pretty much it. So then we go ahead and jump into Drew's performance. All the ladies show up at City Wine. I guess that's the venue where Drew will be performing with Candace. All the ladies show up. You hear some little chatter about Mayetta and Marlo having a little, issue. Marlo hasn't arrived yet, but Mayetta kind of just shares that she just kind of feels like Marlo has tried her, because Marlo said, "Oh, now you can talk because Candy, I guess Candy allowed you to talk," or some bullshit like that. So of course Mayetta feels type of way, like, don't smile in my face, but then behind my back talk shit about me. But I'm like, Mayetta, did you not watch the show last season? Since, I mean, or even what Marlo has been a Peach holder 2 seasons now, like this is her second season. So have you not been watching? And even when she was on the show, that's what she does. She goes smile on people's face and then goes talk shit behind their back. That's just who she is. So I'm like, what makes you think you're the exception, like, to the rule? You're not. Like, I don't get why she feels that way. But fine, whatever. That's what she says. So they go ahead and do their thing. Candace comes out. Candace looks like a knockoff Beyonce. Blonde wig, leotard. I don't know. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. It's like Super Bowl outfit almost. Like Beyonce's black leather Super Bowl outfit. Blonde wig, you know, it's kind of weird. But she did a good job. She sounds great from what they played. I don't know if that was tracked, but it seemed like it was really her singing. I mean, seems to have a nice little voice. Then, of course, Drew comes out. Drew comes out for all of 40 seconds and do a little yin-yang, and that is it. The women are kind of like, Drew's not going to do more than that. Everybody's kind of like, oh, she invited us out to this venue to see her perform, and she performs for 40 seconds. Like, what the fuck? So, okay, all the women are kind of like, oh, a little confused, whatever. But, of course, the show ends. They go backstage. They all hug on Drew, tell Drew she did such a great job. Kenya made a joke and said that Sonya stood up and gave her a standing ovation. You know, like, they just call like, we're so proud of you, you know, great, whatever. So then, of course, that's when the bullshit starts. The bullshit starts. Sonya takes the floor and says, hey, Drew, this is the issue I have with you because when we were at BravoCon, you acted different than what I thought we had to squash our beef, but clearly it's still ongoing because you shaded me at BravoCon. Drew then says, well, the reason why I shaded you was because you blocked me. I figured because you said all the merch that I released about you blocked me. And Sonya's like, no, that's not the case. That was completely after that. I don't understand, you know, what is going on, whatever. So all the ladies just, you know, say, let's just squash the beef, squash the beef, squash the beef. And they get up a hug and the beef is squashed once again for the time being. So then, of course, that's pretty much it for them. You know, they go ahead and just kind of just squash the beef. Then, of course, Manata. It's just all going drama with them. So Manetta, and this thing is just all happening in one scene. It's just like everybody got a problem. So Manetta goes in and voices her problem with Marlo. She says, you know, how Marlo said that now Candy is allowing her to speak. And she's like, I don't like that. And then Marlo has the nerve to say, I didn't say that. But if you guys remember the last episode, her confession, she said, well, I guess Candy allowed Manetta to speak. It's like, Marlo, like, do you not remember what you say? Like, you are literally saying, I know they shoot the confessionals afterwards, but it's like, girl, like, why would you double down on it? But then in the scene, you saying that you didn't say that. So that happens. So then, you know, Maniella's like, well, fuck it. Like, she's like, whatever, because Marlo's trying to act delusional. She's like, I'll let you have it, fine, whatever. So that beef didn't get squashed. There was no squash the beef chant right then and there. So whatever, that goes on. So then we have to where Marlo shows her ass. And it's like every season, she been doing so good. I just said last video, Marlo's minding her business. Here she goes with some bullshit. Marlo is sitting there. Of course, they show a flashback of when Drew and Marlo talk about spilling the beans on this whole Candy restaurant situation, right? Candy, the stuff that happened at Candy restaurant. Now, Marlo does share that she had a nephew that was killed that worked at, I don't know if it was Blaze or at OLG. I don't know. He worked at one of Candy's restaurants, and he ended up getting shot and killed. Now, I'm just going to jump ahead just to share the back story on Quentin. Quentin, his name, R.I.P., you know, rest easy, brother. But this is pretty much what happened. So apparently he got shot by his roommate, right? He got shot at home by his roommate. His roommate got into it, and he got shot and killed by his roommate. Now, she's mad at Candy because Candy, let's just go into it. I'll get back there. I'm gonna pause right there because y'all just remember that the dude used to work at Candy's restaurant. Okay, so we go ahead and Drew says, "Hey, Candy, this is all this backstage when they all backstage and they're talking." Drew says, "Hey, Candy, I'm sorry to hear about the situation that happened at your restaurant. Situation is what she said." And then Candy's just like, like it's not time and place. Like we're celebrating you. And then Marlo goes, the shooting that happened at your restaurant, the shooting. And I'm just kind of like, what the fuck? And Candy's picking up on it. Candy, because you gotta realize, Candy already on P2 Marlo is. So Candy's like, what the fuck? Candy's like, well, let's talk about you slashing a girl's face. And then Marlo goes, oh, they always want to bring up, her confession. They always want to bring up my past. They always want to, but you're bringing up violence, so let's bring up your violence. Like, what happened at Candy restaurant had nothing to do with her. Like that, unfortunately, yes, it was her cousin, but that had nothing to do with her. Your crimes you actually committed. Like, it has everything to do with you. So, and Candy's like, whatever. So then all the ladies feel the tension because Candy is about to pop. Candy's just like, I just can't fuck with you. Like, she's about to black out. So then all the ladies go, women empowerment. And they're like, okay, let's leave. They hug, leave. Then we get a shot from after everybody leaves. They says 30 minutes after production stops. So it's Marlo and Drew. And I'm like, Marlo, you don't realize the production is going to get your ass every time. They show a clip of them sitting talking at the same place that the performance was at, and Marlo's upset, like, why didn't you say shooting? So leads us to believe that they had talked about this, right? Why didn't you say shooting? And Drew's like, because I don't want to, that's not what I'm not going to pressure her about something like that, something violent, which my thing is, Drew, you should never say anything at all. You should just let Marlo be the one that throw that into the conversation. You should let her hang on her own, because at the end of the day, that you ain't got to have nothing to do with that. And she's like, I'm not going to do that. So then they show Marlo in a confessional. Marlo says, she brings up her nephew, Quentin, R.I.P., says about this story that happened to him. He used to work at Candy's restaurant, and she says that she had reached out to Candy. 2 years ago this happened. Reached out to Candy, and she's like, Candy didn't care. Now, they showed the text messages. The text message goes, Marlo says, hey, did you have a Quentin work at your restaurant? Or Quentin that used to work at your restaurant or something like that. And Candy goes, he no longer works here. But, what's up or something. And then she goes, his mom, or, he was killed. And Candy goes, oh, damn, I'm so sorry to hear that. That is where she said. Marlo took that as Candy does not care. Well, I mean, what's she supposed to do? She said she's sorry to hear that. What else what else do you want her to come kiss your feet? Or, I mean, what else can a person do? That's all, I mean, she said, I'm sorry to hear that. So what else do you want? So Marlo's whole thing is that since Candy didn't show so much, she wasn't showing any sympathy about her nephew being killed, who no longer works at her restaurant, who she probably didn't even fucking hire. She probably didn't have much contact with him. And it was 2 years ago. She's mad because she didn't show sympathy at that time. So now she wants to throw the violence that happened at her restaurant to equate for her not showing empathy or sympathy about her nephew. Y'all, Marlo's fucking crazy. I've come to realize, like, she is crazy. I have an aunt like that is like literally kind of cuckoo. And I'm like, what the fuck? You're comparing, again, apples to oranges. Neither one of them have anything to do with each other. Like, her violent situation, the only thing they have in common is a gun. That's the only thing. Outside of that, nothing else runs a common thread. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy. But, all right, y'all. I'm about to get up out of here. And make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out.